Hey, this is Rajmontage coming at you with another episode of the On Call Empath. If you guys are listening on YouTube, please like and share. Definitely helps me out. And if you're listening on the podcast, thank you for listening. So, in this episode, I got a good one for you, and this seems to be coming up a lot. So, I want to do a quick video on this, especially with all the empaths and trauma victims. I ask them, especially when I do my coaching, is what is holding you back in life? Because I feel like a lot of people that I see, I get a lot of grief, a lot of people that said I should have done this, but I never pursued, what my true passion was, or I didn't go after that career that I wanted, or, I didn't pursue something that I really want to get a degree in. Whatever your monumental, whatever your dreams were, what kind of was in the way that stopped you from getting to that point? And number one answer is, hey, because of my trauma. Part of it is being an empath. I had one person say that they got married to somebody, they ended up just kind of putting everything on the back burner. The person that they were with was a narcissist, and you didn't let them follow their dreams. And so I hear this similar story come up in all kinds of situations. There's always someone, something that veered us off our paths. And you know, trauma is something that doesn't just go over, like I mentioned in my other videos, overnight. This is a long life process. So I tell people that you could still go for your dreams despite having trauma. Trauma does not define you. Being an empath or a highly sensitive person does not define you. Your past does not define you. So I want to list the five top things that I feel that kind of holds not just empaths back, but just people in general. Um, People that have been through trauma, people that have been, going through this crazy time that we're going in. You necessarily don't have to be an empath or have a traumatic experience. You may have a memory of something that happened in the past that's holding you back. And what is that? What is holding you back? I want you to ask yourself that. So, without further ado, let's go with number one. Number one thing that I see out of the five, what other people might think: judgment. If I do this, what are people gonna think? I thought about it with doing the podcast. I'm like, do I really want to go into exposing myself and what I've been through, and dedicating a podcast to people that have gone through trauma? That means I have to be transparent and tell people, yeah, I've been through trauma. I was abused, and that's not something a lot of people want to tell the world, because it's embarrassing and it takes a lot of vulnerability to come out. Because I took the initiative saying, you know what, screw it, I'm just going to come out. And next thing I know, a lot of people were resonating with it. A lot of people were saying, I wish I can do that, but I have family members that might be tuning in. I got friends that might be tuning in, and what will they think? And I tell them, the people that feel like they're feeling judged, I tell them, like, what if today was your last day on this planet, on this earth? I really want you to understand this. If this was your last day on the planet, why would it matter what, somebody thinks over there at work, at home, your boss, your husband, your wife? I mean, what would it matter at that point? Have that thought in your head. If today was my last day and somebody's maybe judging you out of fear, you just decide not to do something, it makes things a lot more, it makes things to put it puts things in perspective. That's what I want to say. Number two, a lot of us hold our tongue, we don't speak our truth. And this kind of coincides with number one, but it's more of a resistance. It's that resistance that you're biting your tongue. You want to say something maybe to a loved one. They're maybe doing something and you're afraid to rock the boat, or something at work where you want to talk to your boss, but you don't want to rock the boat. Why? Resistance, fear of the unknown. What if I lose my job? What if I lose my loved one? What if, I do this and I get a backlash? And I'm here to tell you, in life, there is no certainty. But I do know, the more you speak your truth, the more you come across as somebody speaking from your heart, something that a lot of trauma victims have trouble doing because they were never able to have that voice. But I'm here to say you can have that voice and you can speak up and not have people hate you if you do it in a practical way and you explain why you feel the way you do. And anybody that's not on board with you, that's fine. It go back to that feeling like if today was your last day, it's okay. Let them think, let them do what they want, but don't resist. A lot of things comes from resistance around us because once we're resisted once we resist things, you can tell like everything else falls apart in our life. You're driving down the road, you're in a bad mood, you start screaming at people, you take it out on your kids, you take it out on your boss, your coworkers. It's just a snowball effect. So that it starts with resisting, always like being on the defense. And I know a lot of empaths do that. They're always on high alert, always resisting, always looking at, what's coming next at me. And that's no way to live because your nervous system gets whacked, cortisol goes up, you start having mysterious body pains, and that's a whole different can of worms. So it starts by speaking your truth because when you hold your tongue or you don't say what you want to say, you don't have that healthy anger, things start to actually build up and just your whole life starts to kind of fall apart. So, number 3, a lot of empaths really do this as they play it small. They don't go too big. They're afraid, if there's a big, huge position open and they want to apply for it, or let's say that maybe you're looking to do something very risky, like go into a big investment, or something simple as like, moving to a brand new place and starting off your life. We start small. We don't really go for that big picture, that big dream. And I'm here to tell you again, playing it small, being fearful, not being able to take that leap because you're afraid, like, maybe the floor might fall under from underneath you, the sky might fall from overhead. Now, this is normal feeling. You got to understand that we're almost wired as human beings to do this as a safety mechanism because why do you're trying to jump from one place to another. What if you don't land? So naturally, we're gonna not want to take that big step, and that's how I played a lot of the my moves in the beginning of my life. But now I'm welcoming that I want to take those big leaps, and if I fall, that's a lesson that I want to learn. Sometimes that I fail, the more times I'm at bat, and the more times I'll be more successful. And for empaths, highly sensitive people, and trauma victims, that seems to be a very tough thing to do because all your life you've been conditioned to think like if I don't, if I make a too big of a risk, there might be a lot of things to lose. And again, we live one life, guys. And so if you don't go big, there's a saying, if you don't go big, go home. There is something that I do agree with that. You can take calculated risks. I'm not telling you to be irresponsible or doing stupid things like go to bet all your money on a casino. But what I am saying is with healing, um, starting off fresh in a new state, new place, finding new set of friends. These are some big plays that is going to pay off, and if it doesn't, you're learning, and that's what I tell people. When you take these leaps of faith, it takes belief, it takes conviction, and just know failure is part of the process. Your brain's going to tell you no. We're wired to avoid, certain situations of things that feel uncomfortable, go towards feeling more uncomfortable. Because in life, the more uncomfortable you are, the more we grow. And that's one thing that it took me a long time to forget, to come to terms with, because I would always be avoiding certain things. Even like, for example, like at the gym, like the hardest exercises, the squats, uh, you know, doing lunges, it's like it hurts, and the next day, like there's pain. But guess what? That's where you make the most gain in muscle, and you move forward. And the next time you do it, and the next time you do it, it gets easier, and your muscles get bigger. just look at that example in your life. It's the same thing. You take more risks, you get better at it, practice, and again, it all comes down to not caring what other people think and saying your truth, doing all these small little things in the process, and knowing that even failing is actually, I would say, is a very important part of it. A lot of people don't want to talk about it, but failure is how a lot of people move forward and become successful. And if you're listening to this, um, maybe you failed once and you just stopped and you never picked up something again. I'm here to say pick it up, keep at it, and keep moving forward. And if you notice, I always end my episodes with always keep moving forward. That's a term that is very dear to me because even though you fall down or something bad in the past, any trauma, something that really, really messed you up when you were a kid, possibly, but you keep moving forward. Finally, the last thing is you have to put yourself first. I've mentioned this on a lot of my YouTube videos, and a lot of people really don't know what that means. What does it mean to put yourself first? It's kind of like if you're in a boat full of like 10 people, the only way you can help other people is if you first take care of yourself. Even on a plane, when the oxygen max comes down, in order for you to help the person next to you, you have to take care of yourself so you are situated. Same thing. You got to fill your cup before you can fill others. And so it's to some trauma victims and empaths, it might feel selfish. Some people just feel like they should help others. People please, put their boundaries aside. I'm telling you, put yourself first and spend time, quality time alone. Um, for me, like you guys know, like I talk about this all the time. Going for my walks is like my meditation because I can't sit there with my eyes closed. I tried it. It doesn't really do anything for me. But guess what? Walking, that gives me that feeling. And I've had so many different ideas. Even these podcast episodes, I'll go for a walk and boom, that I'll have an episode in my mind because I'm thinking about it. I'm focusing it. I'm bringing all everything that I've learned into a podcast episode to share with all the people that are listening all over the world, my clients, empaths, highly sensitive, trauma victims. We live in a crazy world, guys. And a lot of times we have to step back and just ask ourselves what's holding you back. So in closing, I want you to ask yourself, what is holding you back today? What happened in the past that is keeping you from hitting your goals? Who put that negative voice in you? Was it a certain person? Was it an incident? Was it a time in your life where you felt powerless and helpless and fearful, and that's how you're living your life? You can do is better yourself to prepare for what's to come in the future. In life, there's no guarantees, but you owe it to yourself, especially if you've been through a lot in life, like many of you guys tune in every week. Just know that there are many people that are in the same boat as you. And if you're like lost or you're on your healing journey and you might be in a place where possibly you're in a very good place, and even those people that feel like they're in a great place, I can tell you that they are continuing to do the work every day. Because if they stop, you start going backwards. And then we go back to our old patterns and all kinds of stuff happens. So everything, there's always something that we can work on that's holding us back in life, whether it's to be a better parent, to be, um, do a marathon, um, accomplish a goal that you want. What's holding you back from that? So, with that said, stay tuned for the next episode. I have some amazing guests coming on very soon. Stay tuned if you can like and subscribe to this YouTube channel. I'm trying to grow it, and I'm going to try to get some really well known guests on this podcast for you guys so you can get the best out of the best influencers, coaches, doctors, TEDx speakers, all on this platform. So with that said, always keep moving forward, and we